What is up, guys? Welcome back, my victims, to a new One Punch Man the Strongest LSSR review. Today, we're going to take a look at Metal Knight, also known as Metaru Naito, piloted by the infamous Dr. Bofoy. Why am I doing this now? Is because Metal Knight is set to be released tomorrow on the 1st of February in the Japanese server. So let's have a look at him, shall we? Firstly, a brief introduction. The pros of Metaru Knight. He's a strong OTK setup, especially in comps that require injury, such as Tatsumaki-centered comps. He is one of the best setup characters. He's also very versatile. You can actually build him as a main damage dealer, although it's not as good as other characters, just because his damage ratios are slightly lower in comparison. He is more or less cemented as an essential character for Tatsumaki comp. Why do I say this? Basically, he is one of the only injury-centric characters that's not Amai Mas, and his weakening passive actually functions a lot if it can land on the enemy carry. And he's also able to boost up Tatsumaki's damage by inflicting injury onto multiple targets. He also does not require damage. That means that he does not require too much investment, so it's very good for certain players to actually pick up if they require a supportive character for their Tatsumaki-centered comps. So the cons. His usage is very limited post-Zombie Man. This is because there's a lot of insane healing as well as health-centered characters coming out during that time, as well as certain tanky characters will actually be at their prime during Zombie Man era, because it's more or less the grappler era. So once Zombie Man is out, unless your Tatsumaki is incredibly invested into, especially with the money, then yes, he will be very useful. If not, then most people tend to drop Tatsumaki once they build up a Garo or any other main damage dealer during that era, even Goketsu. So you might want to reconsider. His meta life, that means how long he survived in the meta, is considerably short. That's just the fact. He lasts at most 4 to 5 months, and then as a support, by the way, not as a main carry. So he lasts 4 to 5 months as a support, and then after that he's just relegated to figurines. And he also requires moderate speed tuning. What do I mean by this? I'll come into elaboration at the later stage of the video. But basically, you require a lot of star ascension cards and a lot of speed, as well as a little bit of RNG with those gears. Let's have a look at abilities breakdown. So his passive is called Mech Control. When an enemy is injured, the whole team, by the way, deals an increased 10% attack boost, stacking to whopping 3 times. So you can get up to a 30% attack boost. So this actually works very well because Meta Knight can actually injure every target with his ultimate. So you're able to get up to 30% attack boost quite fast. And burn enemies are weakened by 10% for 1 round. You're able to land a burn, if I'm not mistaken, on the main target on his ultimate as well as his basic attack. So you might benefit from this, especially if they put their main carries in front, but it's more likely than not. So when you upgrade into the 5-star extreme passive, your injured enemy gets stacked up by 4 instead of 3, and your burn enemies are weakened by 20%. So let's actually have a look at how it looks like. So this is after Metal Knight ults. So you can see the weaken on CK, and you can see the attack boost on his team. I'll play it one more time just for clarity's sake. So the whole team goes attack up, and CK weakens. So his basic attack is known as Micro Missile. He hits a single target for 120% damage and inflicts burn, dealing 50% of MK's attack when it procs. So as you can see, the passive is also more clear to see here. can actually see when the burn is inflicted, Char Emperor's attack actually decreases. So that's how it works. So now we're going to his bread and butter ability. The reason why most people pull Metal Knight. It's his ultimate missile launch. So it attacks 6 enemies, dealing 100% damage, which is pretty low. And he has a 50% chance to injure every character, and injured targets take 50% of MK's attack, and 50% chance to burn the main target, which is 50% of MK's attack as well. So this is his standard ultimate. So pretty cool, I would say, not bad. The injury stacking, as I said before, is very good for Tatsu comp, because Tatsu requires injury to boost up her damage. So this is why most people pull Metal Knight, just for this ability. So when you upgrade it to his Ultra Ultimate, he attacks 6 enemies again, dealing 120% damage, so it's a 20% increase boost, which is not very much. And 50% chance to injure. So injured targets actually take more damage by 15%, and the burn damage is up to 100%. And I will tell you why it's not really that good in a bit. So that's his Ultra Ultimate animation. So let's get on to why it's not good. The main purpose of Metal Knight is to support, but at the same time, he needs to deal as little damage as possible. Why, you might ask, is because Tatsumaki has an ability called True Strike, if I'm not mistaken. So when your enemies are above 80% health, she deals extra damage. So if Metal Knight pushes the enemy health below 80% total HP, Tatsumaki's major damage will be reduced. Now some people will disagree and say, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but you can actually see the damage gap with and without the 80% buffer. And most people recommend to build HP speed on Metal Knight. So the burn damage increase is actually negated by this, as well as the injury value, just because that Metal Knight will not have sufficient attack anyway, because you're more or less relying on your base level of attack, because most people don't really level up his keepsake as well, because as I said before, you intend to do as little amount of damage as possible just to set up. That's it. His whole purpose is to set up. So now we go to the meta analysis. Basically, he's not really part of the meta. There's no really use. You pull him, you're wasting your tickets. That's it for the meta analysis. So, material expense. I'm so sorry for the meta analysis, guys. You're recommended to stop at 4-star. He requires a total of 85 shards and 133 badges total. His value at 5-star is not amazing. Awakening, 2-star is sufficient, but most people don't even bother to 2-star him because it just increases his damage, and that's counterproductive. And also his keepsake is kind of counterproductive as well, because a keepsake will increase your damage. But some people do get the keepsake just because it looks cool, or because they want a better level of setup. The injury value is pretty good, so most people want to get the keepsake for that purpose only. For free to play, I do not recommend that. For spenders, if you want to, you can, but I also still don't really recommend it. And other LSSRs, keepsake should be prioritized. That's my main advice to you. Okay, additional information. So his gears, I recommend HP speed and a monk set. So this way you'll be able to get the highest amount of speed possible in the game. And your Metal Knight must be speed 1. Some people say it must be faster than Tatsu, but if you get the weaken onto the enemy carry, if you're lucky enough, because it's RNG dependent, then definitely it will be very, very good. And you can also run a broken set consisting of HP speed, as you can see in the picture that I have here. It's fine, but you do not benefit from the 10% speed up by Monk Gear, because the enemies might actually OTK you before you OTK them. For clarity's sake, OTK means one turn kill, so speed is very very essential. So talent wise, most people avoid him as it buffs his attack value, so not really anybody opens his talent, and it's also very counterproductive. Buff gears wise, you should go for 3 HP gears. For those who are in C, I don't recommend you actually invest into buff gears for him anymore. So major issues, as I said before, he doesn't really last in the meta, and when he is in meta, he's just locked as a support. So he doesn't see much use as a main damage dealer and only is locked up as a setup. So if you require a setup character, definitely he's your man. He's also considered, in my opinion, an unnecessary character. A lot of whales will disagree with me, but from the perspective of free-to-play, I think he is an unnecessary character. For whales, you can get all the LSSR characters you want. It's not a big deal. For mid spenders as well, I do not recommend you get him. I suggest you invest into later pools. Maybe you can invest that money into Goketsu if you want to get him. That's better in my opinion. He also has limited use. He's basically there to ult and die. In the current Zombie Man meta, he literally just ult and die because Garo just one-shot follow-ups him. So very limited use. He's also not free-to-play friendly. Although he doesn't require any resources, he still requires good monk set or good speed gears, and free-to-play don't necessarily have the abilities to get it because it's RNG dependent, and whales and dolphins are able to expand more vitality, more rounds. You can buy better packs like the weekly spirit pack to actually gain more resources, to actually do more resource hunting. So free to players, they have very limited sources of diamonds. They are not allowed to spend outside their necessary spends, which is the black tickets, the shuriken tickets, as well as the daily stamina and vitality. Whereas for better management free to play, you might be able to make use of him for quite a while. But at the same time, you're going to be lacking a lot of BT resources, so I just suggest you skip. And he also requires hellish speed tuning. As I said before, he requires monk set or not a better broken set with speed, just because this character needs to go faster than the enemy team. And if enemy has full up characters, most likely than not he will die. That's it for this video, everybody. I'm so sorry that if you guys dislike the video. There's not really much to say for Meta Knight, to be honest. While I was resource gathering, I was having trouble finding people to actually let me have a look at their Meta Knight, because not many people really use Meta Knight anymore. That's just a testament to how short his meta life is. So if you do enjoy the video, you do enjoy the tips and tricks, drop a like, share my content with your friends. Also, please subscribe. It really motivates me to do good content. I hope you take the meta-analysis part with a grain of salt. It was just meant to be as cheap humor, just because I couldn't really find any relevant meta information outside of the things I've explained. So thank you everybody so much for tuning in. Till we meet again, peace.